The Flogcast may occasionally contain explicit content that makes it not safe for work or for minors. It also doesn't provide an excuse to use the same words on Bay 13. Normal Big Footy rules still apply.
So this is the Flogcast for the post-season wrap. The man who's going to make Richmond great again, Starburns, is here, and I'm joined by Mr. Moral Victory Cookson.
One is the loneliest number that you'll ever do.
The
guy that needs no introduction, Dan. Hello, how are we?
And finally, for his first appearance this year, I think, to shower us all in premiership bathwater, we have Goo You Pups.
Is this his first appearance on the podcast this year?
I think it is. He might have been on when Cookie was on.
How very bandwagon of you.
I've declined every invitation because I've told Cookie and Starburns this already this year. Every time I came on last year, we fucking lost that week.
Ah, so you
every single time.
Pups.
I was just so superstitious, and I just thought, I think Cookie wanted me on after the West Coast win, but I was busy that week. Then he wanted me on again the next week, and I'm like, we won, so I'll say nah. Sit and see and just run with it, and then FIFO wanted me on last week, and I just told him, so I just roll with it, and we win.
It's a good thing that you admitted to that, because we were going to whack you with it. Because it got a subtle mention last week about superstitious doggies and...
Yeah, give Flog points for that if you want.
We're a pretty influential bunch here. We control things. You know, it's not superstition when it's real. You know, we're in control of things. That's why the doggies won. That's why the umpires favoured them, plugger.
It's why you're getting Travis Clerk. That's revenge.
Nah.
We are the Illuma Floggy.
The new Flog order.
Yeah, so, well, it was a fantastic game and fantastic result, and it's Goo or Tears time. Who wants to go first?
Goo.
You're not even going to let him go first?
No, I just go, Cookie. No, that's all right. You go.
Daniel Ricciardo Goo. He won a race, alright, and Lewis Hamilton's engine exploded, which honestly was, no offense to the dogs, that was the most improbable thing all weekend. But Hamilton was just in peak melt. I mean, he was melting like Plugger.
I don't think anyone's melted like Plugger, but fucking pick the St Kilda supporter picking something else's Goo on grand final week.
Well, what do you want me to say? I mean, I'll have Goo.
Did you watch the grand final?
I'll have Goo. No, Goo? Dale Morris Goo. He played a fantastic final series.
Ooh, yeah.
Underrated.
And with a broken fucking back. Like, let's never hear about fucking guys with niggles in a final series ever again, because... You know, did you play with a broken back like Morris? No, you did not.
If you would have said who's got a broken back, Morris or Tippett, you'd say Tippett. That's how good he played.
Or you'd look at Hannaby grimacing and you'd go, he probably broke his back when, you know, someone pushed him. But who wants to go next?
I got Tears.
Oh.
I have Tears. Kim Kardashian is still alive. Those noble gunmen, those robbers, they could have done a wonderful thing for humanity. Instead, they just went with the jewels and the cash, and
they just wanted the booty.
They could have gone full Morgs and made her disappear like the plane.
When mankind created fire, when we created electricity, sliced bread, moon landings, this would have been bigger.
This would have been the best news story of the week.
Oh yeah, it would have just made everyone happy, even if you were a Sydney supporter.
Probably wouldn't have made Plugger happy. He's the only one who wouldn't have been.
not to be. But in all seriousness, the grand final was incredible. It's refreshing to see a side who hasn't won one for a while, but also a side that competes under a conventional salary cap, drafting, and, no bullshit cola or academy picks or priority picks. This premiership probably stands on its own, probably carries more weight than any premiership that's been won in at least 20 years. And just the way they got there, we may not ever see that again.
No.
So it was something pretty special. So well done to the Bulldogs. And, Kim Kardashian is still alive.
You can't have everything, Dan.
Oh.
Pups, you want to go?
Yeah, why not? I might have multiple Goo. So first of all, look, I've got Goo for Tottenham. We're absolutely shut on Man City.
What the fuck is it this week? We had a grand final and everyone wants to go with their first Goo or tears with something else.
It's Divi's team, though. That means Divi's disappointed.
Yeah. All right, so that's out. All right, so that's out of the way. Now let's get to the grand final. Cookie, you mentioned Dale Morris, and him running down Buddy, and then Tom Lloyd picking up the loose ball and just banging it home from 60 to basically kick what probably was the sealer, and there was quite a bit of sting out of the game. But him just kicking that goal and just shutting all the haters up, just so fucking glorious. That's just absolute so glorious. But it was kind of ironic too, because everyone would sort of be thinking of, Buddy kicking that goal from 60 out, because he has done that sort of thing in the past, but, it wasn't him. Boyd did it. So, yeah.
It's still so weird to hear.
Just looking at the whole scheme of things. Yeah, it was weird, but it was glorious too.
It was beautiful. It had irony about it.
Yeah, exactly. And look, also pleased that, Johnny Schultz was given the nod to, present the cup over, and, he's not really talked about as a great player, but when you think about it, he won 5 best and fairest for us in the 60s. He was one of the best ruckmen in the 60s, and he won a Brownlow medal. But everyone talks about John Nichols and Polly Farmer from that era. No one ever talks about Schultz, but Schultz won the Brownlow, not those guys. So, it was just good to see he got his moment in the sun. But once Bob and Easton lifted up that cup, it was just what every Doggies fan and particularly myself just been waiting for. Just lift that cup up. Yeah.
Were you at the game?
My brother and a couple of his mates were. No, I was at the kennel with my other brother and a couple of mates and stuff.
Did you miss out on tickets or?
We put ourselves on the ballot, but I was unsuccessful. But,
oh, that sucks.
It's all good. Yeah, I watched the game at the kennel. There would have been about 10,000 people there. Yeah, it was just it's funny. We got there about half an hour before the gates to open the ground were, and just looking at the queue line up and just thinking, oh shit. But we actually got there at a good time because there was only about 500 people ahead of us. When they get in, and there was just people just filing in for well over an hour after we got in. So we parked ourselves on the grass on the wing because they set up big screens in the middle of the ground, and just soaked it all in pretty much.
I've got Goo, and since everyone else fucking went off topic, I'll go on off topic Goo. I've got Goo for the Punji Con, which Dan did not attend.
I was in regional Victoria that weekend.
Milking cows?
No, not exactly. Not that far out regional, but regional enough.
You were probably further away than I was, which happened on the Thursday afternoon and evening from about 1:30 in the afternoon till 3:30 in the morning with a large TLC crew, including everyone's favourite internet mogul Chief and Gordon Groves.
Hang on, isn't his name Hamish Acker? Cause that's the gentleman I spoke to when I gave the bar a ring when I was travelling.
I heard you gave the bar a ring.
Yeah, I did. I got the lady working at the bar to yell out, "Is there a Hamish Acker there?"
You would have thought it was fucking Mo Sislak prank call, but
I actually thought about doing that, but no, I didn't want to do that.
No, that was a good evening, and it was funny to see the smoothest man on the internet, Mothra, basically take home 2 lesbians at the end of the night.
Nice.
That's just what it is. That's like someone going to the street and picking up food. What'd you guys do to 3 a.m.?
drink.
Drank and went everywhere and ended up on Chapel Street with Gordon Groves and Ant and H2F, whilst H2F tried to desperately find a place that would let us in. But nah, all over the fucking place. Good day.
I was told that you guys were going to go to Arden Street and pay a visit to the paver. Did that eventuate?
We should have gone and paid a visit to the paver. We could have all pissed on it, and the paver would have to walk home. You can't.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'll go to my real goo, and well, it's goo mixed with tears, and it is goo for Tom Boyd and the performance on the grand final stage, which was everything we never thought he was capable of. And as Dan said off air, he played like he was worth $1 million.
I've never, ever seen Tom Boyd play like that.
No.
It's like he's been fucking with us for 2 years. And
Yeah.
It's like, this is what I'm really
Mr.
about.
September.
Yeah.
Liam Picken had a great final series and people called him Mr. September, and fair enough, but Tom Boyd's Mr. September because he never showed up before September, and then all of a sudden he played 2 in a row. Like, his prelim was pretty good, but this was out of this world. And my tears are for the Norm Smith medal selectors, bar Wayne Carey,
God.
and I can't remember who the other one was.
Wow.
Brad Johnson,
Brad Johnson gave Johannesson
Wow.
3.
the age rider, the female
Emma Quayle.
age rider. Emma
2
Quayle.
voters gave Tom Boyd
It's-
3, Wayne Carey and someone else.
I think Emma Quayle.
Wow.
Yeah, might have been Emma Quayle.
Regardless of who they were, they buggered it
And
up.
2 others left him off completely, which was...
Michael Voss and Jay Clark.
Those people valued stats more than the eye test. And you should never do that. You should never get overawed with stats of how many meters gained and how many disposals, because Johannesson was in Leon Davis contention at halftime. He was butchering the ball that badly.
Mm-hmm.
Tom Boyd deserved that medal, and I think partly the fact that he is Tom Boyd, and, you know, the same way Lewis Roberts-Thompson didn't win it, that one grand final, he was really good. If you're a bit too spudly going into the game, they're not going to give it to you. But he absolutely deserved that. He's the moral Norm Smith medalist, in my opinion.
It was a hell of a decision, I think.
I couldn't believe it. I thought maybe Picken had beat him to it.
Yep, he would have been a worthy winner.
Or Kennedy in a losing side even, but not...
Johannesson.
Like Bontempelli's third quarter was, I think, better than Johannesson's entire game.
If it was my 3-2-1 votes, Johannesson wasn't getting a vote.
Yep.
Behind those 3. I don't know. Pups, your opinion as the only person with an emotional investment in it.
Yeah, just looking at the vote getters, obviously Wayne Carey, the key forward, that sort of thing. He gives Boyd top billion. And then Emma Quayle, she gave Tom Boyd top billion also.
She likes her draft
I
days
think
as well.
Jono,
Her youth.
yeah, that too, but she generally is a fairly transparent journo. Like, you
Yeah.
know, she's always pretty neutral and pretty balanced. Like, I've always liked her writing, even though she's mainly only written about draft picks and stuff.
She doesn't get caught up in the goo chugging.
Nah, not at all. But then you look at bloody Voss and Clark, who didn't give him votes at all. You know, Voss is a midfielder, and Clark's I just don't rate him as a journo at all, to be honest. Just, you know, he likes his super coach and stuff like that.
Well, Voss is a failed coach, so really. He had Tom
Well,
Rockcliffe
yeah.
at his club, so he loves his numbers. He's the one who made Rockcliffe captain, if I'm not mistaken.
Cliff,
So-
exactly.
No wonder he's not really caring what you do with the ball as long as you get it.
I will say though, outside of Kennedy, you could probably argue that most of the top 10 players were all from the Dogs. I mean, apart from Rampy. I mean,
Grundy.
there were 2 Sydney players that stood up. Grundy
Yeah.
was also good.
Those were the only 3 Swans players, I reckon you could say, who had good games. You could say there were some serviceable ones, but when you look at the Leon Davis field, Stringer's the only Bulldog who was anywhere near it.
I mean, that Naismith player suddenly came out and he played pretty good for a random.
Speaking of the Leon Davis, I think we'll move on to just pure discussion of the game. And, well, last 3 years, it's 2 grand final losses for the Kohlers, and there are 2... The Leon Davis medalists, I think we can announce tonight that Tippett's not going to get caught. I think we can call that. It's not quite the federal election where they're going to run it to the wire. But Tippett and Rowan in second place, I think both finished second and third in Leon Davis voting 2 years ago, which says a lot about...
Not standing up in the big moments.
Just the same problems the Swans had against Hawthorn are still there.
They got killed on the outside.
They got killed in a lot of ways. Like, Mitchell played pretty well too, now that we mention it, because on the inside they were pretty good. But they didn't look like they had a winner forward of the ball.
No. They play well when everything's going all right for Sydney, but when chips are stacked against them, oh no.
Whereas the Dogs found some winners. They found Boyd, obviously. They got 3 goals out of Dixon. They got 3 out of Picken, even though the last one was junk time.
Yep.
Dahas was in there.
And they got even contributions, whereas the Swans were very top-heavy. And, Parker was disappointing. Hanbury was pretty crap until right before he got injured. He was starting to get a bit of it. But before that, he got tackled in the first quarter and grimaced for 5 fucking minutes. Didn't anyone catch that?
Yeah,
Yeah, I did.
That belongs in the bitch face thread. Kieran Jack was meh, he missed that goal.
McGlynn and
McGlynn.
what's it? McGlynn was just pure shit. He shouldn't have played that game.
No.
And same with McVeigh.
McVeigh shouldn't have played, nor should Mills. Whereas the Dogs went with the settled 22, even though certainly Suckling's probably in the best 22, and you could make a case for Lin Jong too. But Beveridge backed his guys. Longmire got a little bit skittish. I guess that just says their depth's pretty shit. That no one's knocking the door down in the twos, apart from perhaps Ted Richards, now retired.
Oh, I wonder why that's happened.
Sort of what I thought of the game. Look, I think Cookie said earlier that, they were killed on the outside. Sydney really did not have a winner on the outside. Like,
Bowen's meant to be the guy.
I thought Jones had a crack. He couldn't get his hands on the ball enough. But they really needed guys running off half back and on the wings and stuff, just to link up and spread and stuff. And, we had that through, even though he hacked the ball a bit, we had that through Hannison, we had that through Biggs. Dowhouse gave us a little bit of grunt when he was able to get on the outside after his inside stuff. And Caleb Daniel had a really poor first half, but he was more involved in the second half. McRae was huge in the second half too. We were just able to transition the ball by hand and foot, so much better than what they did. And like when you sort of look at the stats after half time, Sydney only kicked 3 goals 4 after half time. We kicked 6 goals 10. If we kick straight, then we beat them easily by 6, 7, 8 goals. Yeah. And obviously Sydney's Rampy and Grundy had good games from down back, and they were able to mark the high ball regularly. But just through sheer weight of numbers, we were just getting inside 50 and making our chances.
The moment the ball hit the ground, the Bulldogs just destroyed Sydney. I mean, when that changed, the Crummers got in. And,
They were just better in almost every facet of the game. And, their players, which you mentioned, some of them were quiet, found a way in. Whereas the Swans players, Caleb Daniel had about 1 kick to half time, but he worked his way into the contest. And, out of Leon contention, even Stringer did fuck all. Like, Stringer was a liability with half his kicks out on the full at one stage. But then, when it mattered, stepped up, kicked a goal, did a couple of nice things in literally the last 10 minutes of the contest. Whereas there were Swans players who didn't do anything all day. It was a pure team performance, and it has been across the 4 weeks. Like, the Gary Ayres medal was won by Josh Kennedy on the back of 2 good games he played. But really, the Dogs won 4 finals along the way, but there was very few players would have featured in their best 3 more than once in that run. It was just even. And that's why they won the flag, and that's why it was amazing.
I will say Kennedy did play one of the better grand finals you'll see in a losing side. 30 disposals, 3 goals.
But he was so good at half-time, and then the throwing of Liberatore onto him helped turn that game. It's like, even in that situation, the Dogs found a way to keep him in check, because he was nearly carrying them on his back.
There was a game early in the season where Libber and McRae got injured against Geelong on that Friday night game.
That was the first of the Brave games.
Yeah, but it was halfway through the second quarter when Libber hurt his ankle. And Libber played that same role as what he did on Kennedy in the second half. He played that same role on Dangerfield. And we were up by 5 points. And then he got injured, and we had no one real else to shut down Dangerfield because he's just so explosive. And Dangerfield just really got his butt in the gear, and, he really turned it on after that. Just shows how influential Libber is.
And it also sounds like the Swans are, in a similar way to Geelong, a one-man team. That if you shut down Kennedy, you can do a lot to them in a big game.
I will say, there was a club you probably could have really used Kennedy in this final series.
Which one?
Hawthorn.
Hawthorn? Yeah. Oh, well.
So, and what else do we have on that game?
Sting was alright.
You thought so? I thought...
Better than Meatloaf.
But if we hold that standard, no one's gonna fucking fail it. You could probably
so
send
Suze could
like
sing at the
short.
grand
I was
final
gonna
and
say short of
nail it.
sending paddles up to sing.
Oh, Jesus.
It's always gonna be better. So I thought Sting was pretty lackluster and unnecessary in the end. Really, they probably could have done it this year without him.
I mean, Lionel Richie was the best pre-game entertainment, and that was planned in a week.
The 2 Australian acts they had probably would have been enough for it.
Yeah.
But Sting was like an unnecessary extra who didn't even perform afterwards.
Can the AFL only get guys who just happen to be in the country at the time?
I think that's all they chase. I've heard a story that basically Michael Gudinski's sort of got himself into a deal with the AFL where he gets them the acts because he's a music guy. He gets them the acts, but they're basically only ones coming out here on his, effectively signed to his touring company or whatever. So there's some reach-arounds happening there.
Mm-hmm.
Stringer probably gets the Cameron Mooney I got carried to a flag medal.
Zane Cordy's still probably...
He did kick a goal out of his ass, which is
He kicked a goal out of his ass,
fuck.
though he did cost him one by not giving it off. But,
true.
yeah.
I thought his
Yeah,
ground
tight.
level stuff was pretty good. I thought he was able to win some crucial 50-50s, particularly in the last quarter.
I didn't see him in the second and third. His first quarter was alright in his last quarter, but other than that.
He didn't really have a good aerial game, whereas he has shown the last couple of weeks that, he can play on a taller rebounding player and keep him honest. Like he did that, particularly the first 2 weeks of the finals on the Gubman and Gibson, I think. But, probably maybe the delivery inside 50 wasn't great from us at times, which probably favoured Rampy and Grundy and these guys that Cordy probably would have spent some time on throughout the game. But, yeah, definitely thought his ground level
Since
stuff
Dan
was-
did mention the entertainment, which we will discuss, I want to discuss the fucking grand final sprint.
Oof, Jesus.
Now, if we're going to pretend that this thing is fucking still worth something, and it clearly is to Geelong, can we fuck off the ring-ins? We don't need a fucking cab driver. We don't need this random suburban footballer who won, who is clearly now going to get a contract at Geelong, as Morgs predicted. He'll be the new recruit.
Perhaps the AFL in the last couple of years are struggling to get people from clubs to actually want to do it. Maybe that's the reasoning for it.
Then get rid of it.
Yeah.
They get players too. It's like an appearance fee and a couple of extra tickets to scalp. Like, I don't know why you wouldn't if you were just in town.
Well, some people might not want to watch the grand final, or they just want to relax at home and watch it with some mates or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Some clubs might not even have quick players. Like,
If you're going to have a grand final sprint, send the slowest and fattest players. Like, let's have Tom Hawkins versus fucking Paddy McCartan versus Ruckman.
Mommy.
I'd pay that. I mean, stop sending the good players. Just send the slowest ones.
that race itself, Majak fell over, and you got guys jumping to start. It was a bit of a mess.
Local football one.
How long have we had the sprint in the grand final?
Well, it started in 1979, but got cancelled in 87, and then brought back in 2002.
Time to can it?
I think it is. Like, they're commercialising it to try and make people actually give a shit.
Yeah, the AFL trying to milk it and give the fans at the stadium something.
Yeah,
to
something
sort
to do at half-time.
I mean, it's only 20 minutes. I mean, it flies. I mean, you just, people got their phones and shit, or they can go grab something to eat or drink. You know that thing they did in the GWS game where the guy was trying to kick the footy into, like, all his
You'd
other
like to see that
tyres?
big grand final day prize.
Yeah, something like that. You just randomly pick people out of the crowd and...
Or some poor bastard who's been wandering around outside begging for tickets. You call it the second half ticket lottery, and they have to compete for a chance to win tickets to the second half.
And if you miss it, we're going to kick you back out.
And they're going to take the tickets that some corporate wanker who's already gone home because the food's gone, the lunch is over, they're going to take their seats. Oh no, some shit like that. Like, anything better than that. What else we got in the grand final?
What do you make of the parade, Dan?
I didn't watch it. I turned the tally on like 10 minutes before the start of the game. I'm guessing, Farron Ray got a lap.
Yes.
Michael Ferrito got a lap.
Yes.
Jed Adcock got a lap.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm
Results
sick of talking
weren't
about this
damaged.
already.
Were there any really surprising names amongst that bunch? Like ones we hadn't expected?
The swimmers got a laugh, and Matt Corton and Kyle Chambers.
Oh, the Port Adelaide Chinese fans switched off over that.
And Also, the Melbourne Cup winner from last year got a
Actually,
lap.
the gold medal. If you win a gold medal at the Olympics, I mean that's
yeah,
fair
no,
enough.
that's fair enough. I think. Yeah.
I remember one year, Cadell Evans
Cadell
got
Evans,
a
and he got to deliver the
gig.
Melbourne Cup that year. Like that was, he was wheeled out for everything. Anyone who could get him tried to. The NRL didn't, because like I don't mind that.
Look, my simple point in all this is why should all those fringe players get the same treatment as the greats that are getting the same thing?
Yeah, we don't give the silver medalists a lap.
Yeah, like there's people clapping and cheering at Michael Freo when really they probably just want to throw shit at him or punch him.
Throw potatoes.
Yeah.
Fits the 200 game criteria though. Well, Brian Lake retired last season, but he played in the grand final, so they put him around also in a car with Adam Kearney.
That's not
Even
such
though
a
they're
bad
best
thing though.
mates.
Brian Lake deserves a lap of honour. He's a Norm Smith medalist.
Can we make the criteria a bit more higher? Like, say if you play
Best and
300
fairest,
games,
All-Australian.
All-Australian, best and fairest.
Oh no, but then Nick Maxwell.
Okay, forget individual medals.
Maybe we should just let you
300
decide, Dan. We'll give you a list of names and you can say yes, no.
Not,
Yes, no.
not many people are getting laps if you're leaving it up to me.
Alright, I'll give you some names then. Alright, Matthew Pavlich,
Yes.
Sam Fisher.
No.
Really?
Just move.
Two best and fairest
move on with it,
All-Australian.
It's a bit harsh. I'll give one to Fisher, to be honest.
Dan's word is final.
Okay, keep
Nick
going.
Rewald.
Yes.
Aaron Sandilands.
Sandlands isn't retiring. Did he get a lap?
I'm just implying
Oh, okay.
these players could retire.
All right, yes. Sandilands, yes.
Jimmy Bartel.
Yes.
Tom Rockcliffe.
No. Jesus.
Nick Maxwell.
No, God, no.
Travis Broke.
No.
Andrew Mackey.
No.
Travis Cloak.
No.
Oh,
Ryan Griffin.
No.
Joe Watson.
no.
Oh.
Tainted Brownlow, Dan.
Dane Woden.
I'll say no. No. Jesus Christ.
Matt
Matthew
Priddis.
Frittis.
Oh, God. I'd slip my wrists.
Jeez, this is a very tough club. You're like Sue's letting people onto her forum.
How many people have I said yes to? 4 out of 20-something people, maybe. I don't know. Well, I mean, that's what makes it special. If you're considered one of the greats of the game, then you get a lap of honour on grand final day instead of being a participation award where everyone gets one. It's kind of like that discussion where people are saying everyone from the grand final side or team should get a medal rather than just the 22 that played. It dilutes it.
Well, let's segue from that to what was probably one of the greatest moments of the day when Luke Beveridge actually took his medal and presented it to Bob Murphy, got him up on the stage.
Getting him up on the stage was a really, really good gesture. I like that.
And he let him hold the cup first with Easton Wood, and Beveridge took the step back. Usually it's the captain and the coach. Traditionally, that's how it always is, but Beveridge just literally stepped back, and you can see why they want to play for him. But, yeah, it was a fantastic moment.
That's a good moment. You can't begrudge him for doing it.
No, but Peter Gordon's gone and tried to ruin it.
Yeah, he's had a bit of a mouth since that match has finished, hasn't he? He had a clip at Buddy.
He's always had a bit of mouth. It's just that people are listening.
Did he flip-flop saying that he said, I'm not responsible for the Tom Boyd deal to now I am responsible for the Tom Boyd deal?
Yeah, well, of course he's going to take credit. But on the basis of the medal, yeah, Gordon's asked for it and he's flip-flopping a little bit, and it's, he's starting to sound like Eddie or Koshi this last couple of days. But seriously, they can't give a medal. You don't just hand out medals because someone's a good bloke, and it devalues the gesture.
None of the other assistants get medals.
There are hard luck stories all the time in grand finals, and this one's about as bad as they get. But, if Beveridge wants to give the medal, let him do this.
Let him do this.
But don't just give him a new one because you're like, oh no, what a good bloke. Otherwise, everyone will start giving out medals, Who's going to give out a medal when someone wins next year? Someone take the piss and give it to fucking one of the players Dan decided wasn't worth a lap. Hang on, is Bob Murphy deserving of a lap, Dan?
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, he gets one.
Okay, yeah.
No, he can have one of those.
But the 22 medals are just for the players, aren't they?
Yeah, and the lap that goes with it, yeah.
And you don't create another medal just because Beveridge gave his away. You know what? He might win another one. Bob Murphy might not. And it's a nice gesture, but you don't need to wank over it like fucking Gordon is and write to the AFL asking for another medal. Because then you'll have Eddie arcing up going, where's the one for Presti? And then you'll have a West Horsham shit fight about fucking Tony Modra or...
Matthew Primus.
And the AFL asking Kevin Sheedy, does Derek Kickett deserve one? And Sheedy saying no. There are hard luck stories. The Kohler's going, give one to McGlynn and give us 9.8% extra medal. I think you just got to leave it the way it is.
Yeah.
And it sucks for him. Collingwood did rings after 2010, which is the American thing where everyone involved gets a ring and the club can decide who gets what. And clubs should probably do that more, but the AFL give 22 medals to players and one to a coach.
There's going to be hard luck stories every year with players missing because the team lost or they didn't get into the side. I mean, this year's no different.
Yeah, for every Cameron Mooney or Jake Stringer, there is a Bob Murphy or a Presty. And then there's the guys who don't even win premierships, you know.
You really deserve one more than random fucking... than Bradley Hill.
Yeah, and Bradley Hill gets 3.
Like, Martin Pike has a few spare ones. He could give out a few.
He's probably sold them. Or maybe he accidentally threw his out like Glenn Archer. Tom Lither. Did anyone catch his speech about winning an Ashes test, hitting 100 off Funky Miller?
Yeah.
That was fucking loose.
Yes.
He wasn't even off the ground and he was already on another fucking planet.
I think he's just like that, though.
Yeah.
He's just on loose cannon. Yeah.
That was fucking bizarro, but hilarious at the same time. And if you haven't heard it, check it out. It's been around a bit, people. Anything else on anything from Grand Final Day?
Well, you have to say congratulations to the Dogs. I'm going to be honest.
It's a good story, without being facetious.
I'm a bit jealous. I'm a bit bitter and angry at my own team as well. I'm not going to deny that. But yeah, just congratulations. Hopefully we'll join you with number 2 next year.
Congratulations and celebrations. Yes, and also the North Melbourne Football Club and Fremantle Football Club says you're welcome.
Thanks, Dan. Thanks, Jose Romano.
This is the first premiership Ross Lyon's been responsible for, isn't it?
Oh, so now he probably
Ross Lyon
needs a
a
medal
medal.
too.
I'll personally pay for some of that shit. It's just good trolling.
They'll have something to put in Fremantle's premiership cabinet because, you know, they didn't have one with 15 other clubs at the MCG because they got nothing to put in it. Did anyone hear about that?
Yes.
No.
There was 15 cabinets set up outside the MCG that had all the premiership cups from everyone who's won one, but GWS, Gold Coast and Freo didn't have one because there was nothing to put in them.
2 of them's understandable, but...
So, you know, everyone else had their own premiership cups, either the old ones that are handed out or the replicas made about a decade ago. But yeah, Freo, no cabinet. So, you know, if Ross Lyon gets a premiership medal, they can put that in the fucking cabinet.
Well, didn't they win a waffle one?
Oh, it's not a real...
Yeah, Bill
Not
Thunder.
a real...
Well, they can put something in there at least.
Probably the AFL don't care. It's not a real flag. They didn't put any of Port's North King Island cups in there.
No.
But yeah, no, it was a good story that the Dogs won. You know, this is the year of fairy tales. Leicester City, Cleveland, the Dogs. It's just rolling on. If you want to break a drought, 2016's your year, or you want an unpredictable
Cronulla.
story.
Cronulla too, yeah.
Cronulla, yep. White Sox might get there in a month. It's quite a good story, and yeah, well done to the Dogs. It's probably the most fascinating premiership story. It's, as Dan said, it carries more weight than any flag one in a long time. This is the one you make a doco
easily.
about, or a movie. This is the one you make a movie about, not the Essendon saga, Goddard. And look, they can call it bathwater. But yeah, nothing else on the game.
Nope.
Nah, suck shit, Sydney.
Bathwater tastes better than cola.
Yeah, it was pretty special moment, I guess.
Let's move on to our talking points, and we did discuss briefly Cronulla and breaking the drought. We're going to go a little bit off topic there, and they won the grand final. It's not that interesting story, except that if anybody remembers, Cronulla. Why do we know about Cronulla again?
Uh,
I think they're similar
Essendon.
to the Bulldogs in
Sort of.
that they haven't won a flag in like
Nah,
50
that's not it. There's some other story with Cronulla. There's a big story. I can't.
I think they had
Sort
some
of.
employees that were very similar, I think.
Yeah, in what way?
Oh, somewhere in the sports science department.
Oh yeah, what did they do? Yeah, they were on drugs, weren't they?
Yes.
And they just won a premiership. But why aren't their players banned?
Oh, shit, yeah. The players took like a 3-week ban and now they've gone on to win a flag.
Oh, really? Yeah, of course. They took a 3-week ban instead of standing by their sociopath coach, and they have a premiership, and Essendon have a wooden spoon.
I've got to go to the Hot Topics board now and see if that's been mentioned.
To see if it's been mentioned, or to read the thread that's already there. It's been mentioned. Thrawn's all over that shit, clearly. Or someone like that.
It's humorous because Essendon could have copped a 3-week suspension, like maybe 5 weeks. In an irrelevant season, it's done.
Yep.
Sack Herd and rise up the ladder.
Club's in a better place, but no.
An NRL club is run better than Essendon.
An NRL club is smarter than Essendon. Oh, that's delicious. Do we have anything else on Cronulla?
I think they were in just as big a party as Footscray were. But no riots, surprisingly.
No, they saved their riots for their race relations. Let's stay on the subject of drugs and laughing at Essendon. Stu Cramry had an interesting grand final week with the wedding and everything, but the story goes that now that the Dogs are premiers, his compo claim from Essendon has just gone up dramatically because due to them injecting him with fuck knows what, he now could not be a premiership player.
Oh, so how much more does he get?
Well, what's a premiership worth to you? What's the price on a premiership?
Yeah, it's hard to gauge. Yeah, it's hard to sort of measure, isn't it?
It's pretty funny though because, you know, he wouldn't have been there anyway because he got married the day before and they wouldn't have picked him. But
Well, you would think at least match payments that you would be getting and all the players get a bonus
Yeah.
for playing finals.
true, match payments grand final are quite large, aren't they?
And then, you know, being a premiership player probably does add to your value as a player. So, yeah, there's a lot of things to weigh up, I suppose.
I'd feel sorry for him, but I do find it funny that, and the Essendon supporters are going to rage over this because he deserves more. They've cost him a flag. He needs a moral medal like everybody else.
Oh, everyone's asking for one.
I think we should get medals.
Yeah, give us another badge. We should have been getting a badge for every year we've been doing this. We've only got the one solitary badge.
But I reckon Cremeri's going to be a bit pissed because right now he's probably thinking, seeing his own team win a flag, he's thinking, fuck, should have taken the deal. Then seeing Cronulla win the flag, he must be thinking, oh, sweet zombie, fuck, I should have taken that deal. I should have squealed.
But the reason he didn't take the deal was because no one fucking else did, you know? How would you feel if you were the only player to take the deal and then admit to drug cheating and then every other cunt gets off?
Think for yourself. Jake Carlisle should have turped every one of those fuckers.
Yeah, but that's the thing. You're only a drug cheat and they all get... You know what I mean? If you plead guilty, you can't say, oh, they got found not guilty, please remove my taint. The players should have all just gone in, but instead they all backed fucking Herd.
Stand by Herd.
Worked so well.
Hashtag shocked to be sitting here.
You know, they should have followed Tanya's lead and not stood by him. Let's move on to the next talking point, and it is linked to Herd as well. Fagan's going to Brisbane. That's set to be announced tomorrow, which we sort
Did you
of...
say Fagan or faggot?
Fagan.
Fagan, sorry. That N
Who is
sounded
this
like
guy?
a T. I'm sorry.
Who is this guy?
Well, he's Hawthorn's development guy, so he can't develop Hawthorn's list, but hey...
I know he's there, but is he like a Brendan McCartney? Like, did he actually play for AFL or AFL or whatever?
I don't know, but he's not an actual coach.
If you're from
That's
Hawthorn, you must be good.
Stupid.
Well, this is the thing, and we've sort of gone into this in the past, and we don't stay on it for too long, but the realisation did occur to me today that when I saw it, someone mention it, that, yeah, he doesn't have the coaching accreditation. You know, that special one they brought in because James Herd was so shit that you have to have a certain coaching accreditation to be a senior coach. And they don't hand those out like fucking candy. And he doesn't have one yet. They're going to put him in charge of the fucking Bryans.
Well,
He's been coaching in the AFL since, like, well, at least by minimum 2000, so he probably does know his shit.
But it's not a tactical role. I don't know what he does, but he's not the fucking game plan genius. He's not even the guy telling Clarko to create clusters or whatever the fuck, or not get contested possessions, or, you know, he's not the mastermind.
He's going to need some serious help in my
Oh,
opinion
yeah.
from his assistant coaches to develop the game plan and what. Like, look, if they're bringing him in specifically for, you know, the off-field stuff and like getting the right programs in place and, you know, getting the right, you know, draft in and you know, player retention, that sort of thing. Okay. But,
Development stuff. Like, he sounds like a placeholder until they get someone else.
well, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
In fairness, he
And
could
do
be
they
like
really need that?
like they do have quite a young list, and he's probably their development coach. Then they trade him for a tactical coach when all the players are ready.
what does he
That
do
probably-
with Hanley and Rockcliffe?
Yeah, maybe that's maybe the only reason he's got a job is just in case they're stuck with Rockcliffe, so that Rockcliffe doesn't, you know, destroy the next wave of youth coming through and send them all fucking off home.
They've been rebuilding since Voss left, and Leppich was there for 3 years. Like,
They're a basket case. They're Melbourne-esque.
look at us. Like, McCartney only spent 3 years with us. And, you know, we've won a flag 2 years later. It'd make more sense just to try and get the best credentialed guy who's actually coached his own team. Doesn't have to be at AFL standard. Like, you know, like he's obviously done his apprenticeship as some sort of, development coach or whatnot, but, he just doesn't seem proven enough. Whereas, like, looking at us, Beveridge at least was proven, like, he's done his apprenticeship, won 3 flags in the Amos, and then coached at Collingwood and Hawthorn and helped with premiership programs for those clubs. So at least he had the ground. Whereas I'm not really sure, does he have the grounding? At least someone like Bolton coached in Tassie, I think. Before he
So
went
did
to
Fagan.
Hawthorn.
That's Fagan's highest level coaching was in Tassie, but a long time ago.
Yeah, just saying that Bolton was more...
Bolton was an assistant instead of in charge of development.
Yeah.
Bolton had a match day role.
Yeah, Bolton at least had some match day nous and stuff, whereas it just seems, does this guy have match day nous? I don't think he does.
No, it seems like a really Brisbane-esque decision. Like, they are the new Melbourne, and this feels to me like their Mark Neild moment. Because Neild was supposedly highly rated.
So if he's not the guy, then who is? How do you fix Brisbane?
Honestly,
Maybe you can't.
They're almost too hard to fix at the moment. Look, no, you fix them by getting someone in like that, but you want someone with a bit more match day experience, and you have to fucking gut the club. You have to gut the players, like Rockcliffe and Taylor. These cunts who think they're worth more than they are, and are clearly culturally bad. And you got to stop taking the retreads. And you got to stop looking at cunts like Christensen and, Robinson's been good for them, but, Christensen and Bastanak, if that's the best you can bring to your club.
They've wasted so many second rounders on these types of guys.
Yeah.
Like, second, third rounders that they could have found a gun kid in the draft. Yet they keep on bringing in these B and C graders. Yeah, they're just blowing their midfield deaf and B and C graders, and they should just load up their midfield through the draft. Like what Essendon are going to be able to do over the next year or two, like Parrish and Francis, and who knows what they're going to do with this upcoming trade period.
Let's move on from that, because we spent a while on Brisbane. A couple of real quick things. How'd we find the Age printing the wrong fucking Bulldogs ad?
Oof. We had one job to do, editor. One job.
Yeah, didn't something similar happen in Sydney? Congratulating Sydney Swans on being the 2016 premiers.
Well, in fairness, in Sydney they probably didn't know. They haven't watched the game. At least in Melbourne, you'd expect them to, whoever it is, to be all over that fucking result.
So what was in the Age?
Basically, a commiserations ad from Vic Uni, who sponsor the Dogs. They obviously paid for the ad space regardless, and said, here are our 2
When you do
ads.
that, usually you have to do it days in advance.
Well, that's the thing. They did it days in advance, and they probably supplied them with, here's our ad if they win, here's our ad if they lose. And
I'm not too sure.
The person faced with the 50-50 choice couldn't tell which was which.
It was like, congratulations, season 2016, blah, blah, blah. In spite of the disappointment of the grand final loss, the Bulldogs showed incredible heart and sportsmanship until the final siren. Led by skipper and VU student Easton Wood. With the VFL Grand Final win and the first AFL Grand Final to be played in 55 years, this has been a Bulldog season for the history books.
That's really bad. That's like
that's
like something I'd expect from the Herald Sun if Robbo was the editor.
It's just, how can you fuck that up? It's just, someone's stupid.
Let's move on from that to something else a bit stupid, and we'll let Cookie rage a little bit here. St Kilda's new jumper and slogan.
I'm not sure if the slogan's confirmed, but if it is, fucking sack yourself or kill
I haven't
yourself.
seen it. What is it?
It's Carlton-esque, isn't it?
It's worse than Carlton's.
We know we are building something that no other club has. And it's like, did they watch Pokemon and said, yes, that is a good idea for a slogan?
Building something nobody else ever has. What are they building at St Kilda?
Is it metaphorical? Is it real?
A coffee shop at Seaford?
That would be fancy.
No other clubs to build a coffee shop next to their ground, because most clubs, put their grounds near one.
Well, hang on. Are you referring to the one that Armitage is wearing?
Yes.
Yeah, it's got that
What's
weird
so
white bit around the top.
Is that all it is? Oh, who cares?
Apparently the red will come up looking pinkish, Cookie believes.
Oh, come on. That's just silly. Come on. That looks... I can't tell the difference between that and what you regularly wear.
Their current jumper's alright. This
Let
one's...
me look at a St Kilda jumper.
We really need paddles on to talk about jumpers.
So the sleeve is black on the conventional jumper, but this one's white.
Well, the fucking collar looks like a toilet.
Do
you have any idea how embarrassing it was
wearing a toilet seat
watching
around?
North Melbourne play in the light blue Argentina jumper for 3 or 4
that was a
years?
forced clash.
That was
That's a bit
terrible. Terrible.
That's like Power Rangers. You know, those things you don't wear
this-
them every week.
All this is just a change of colour in the collar. There's a little bit of extra white, which is what your team's partial colours are.
Yeah, I don't mind the white, but the collar looks like shit.
Oh, who cares? It's not bad. I
It's
mean,
BL.
they're all worse. I mean, you can consider yourself lucky. It's not Power Ranger. It's not Argentina.
Your colours could be brown and gold. It's not that bad.
Yeah, it's not that bad. The only disappointing thing in this photo is that you've chosen David Armitage to model in it. Other than that,
Yeah.
it's
It was probably the only one in the country.
Well, he's used to having a bit of white around his neck, isn't he? You'd call that a pearl necklace, wouldn't you? The new jumper.
Maybe that's why we picked him.
Anyway, I think let's move on from that. Questions. Maximum Gornage wants to know worst ever grand final performance by any player.
Oh, Jesus. You know what? I thought about the whole naming of the Leon Davis medal, and I clicked on his Wikipedia page, and it turns out that he was a two-time All-Australian.
But he stunk it up in
And-
grand finals. That's why it's his medal.
I know, but I think to have the medal named after him is a bit stiff. When there are,
He got donuts one year, and then he got donuts up until he kicked the goal.
He was
could
one of
call
their
it the-
good players.
I mean, I would have no problem if we decided to call it the Gary Rowan medal.
But he's not
seeing
even,
as
he's
had-
never won one.
Yeah, but he's had two really... Like, he's lucky not even to have one.
Leon's won 2, easy, out of 4. And he's the only player to ever get dropped for a grand final replay. Plus, you know, the AFLPA MVP's named after Lee Matthews, and just because Gary Ablett Jr. came along and was better, doesn't mean we change the name as much as Jasny wants us to.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. It's hard to think back previous... It's hard to remember the good performances, let alone the shit ones.
Some of the shit ones do factor in memory. Does anyone want to have a crack? Because I have an answer.
No,
Clinton
go
Young,
ahead.
2012.
Le-
He had a negative impact, which is worse.
Oh,
than
I got
touching
mine.
it.
Hayden Ballantyne.
Oh, you nicked mine.
Sorry.
What's your reasoning?
Oh, because that year he was just an annoying, chirpy little shit, and to be like that and to produce absolutely nothing in the grand final and to miss every shot that he had, I think it just stands out for that reason. It's probably not the worst of the worst, but it just stands out. Like, it's the only one that sort of came to mind.
That's why I picked it, because we have a lot of guys who don't deliver, or in the case of, say, Kurt Tippett or Surioli in past years, who expect more the invisible man, Leon Davis getting donuts. But it takes a special kind of shitness to actually help the other team by fucking up as often as you got it. And this is probably why this is the main reason Stringer was in the running so long, because of all the times he coughed it up and kicked it out in the full. But Hayden Ballantyne literally sucked he made some of the worst mistakes on that day. Turned the ball over. He was a genuine liability. Like, they would have been better if he didn't touch the ball than if he did. That's how bad he was. And that's why I think he gets it. But Leon still gets the medal for 2 shit grand finals, one with donuts, one where he didn't kick it till he kicked the goal that basically tied it. And then 2011, he had an All-Australian year, and his grand final statistically wasn't bad, but he played on Travis Varco, who was like Geelong's 3rd best player on the day, kicked 3 goals. It was so even his best grand final, his opponent beat him pretty badly. But Hayden Ballantyne, him and Jack Darling are the 2 in recent years who've won it for actually being negative influences on their team as opposed to no influence. And Ballantyne worse in that way. Anyone else want to have a crack?
Surioli, 2012. Cam
It's
Mooney.
quite easy.
Any reason for either?
Well, Rioli had a shocker in 2012. So did Hodge. Cam Mooney didn't touch the ball. He was literally there to sit on the bench.
Different era though.
Well, in defense, yeah, when you were on the bench
They didn't
during
let him
those
off the
days,
bench.
you were on there for a long
Yeah.
time.
I don't think they even let him off the pine.
Yeah.
Wasn't there a Lions player who had a shit one?
Oh, Alistair Lynch threw more punches and stats in 2004.
Reece Shaw in one of the also
Yeah, when he
Collingwood
shat his
grand
pants.
finals.
Yeah, another average player that got chaired off his last game.
He made Fifey's heart break. That's like a club of one.
Yeah, the feels. Next question is from K4A, and he wants to know, if you were invited to Jade's wedding, what would you bring as a present?
A suit.
$900 suit?
A race car bed.
Jousting sticks.
God, what would I bring to that doofus's wedding? A
Bring
blow-up doll?
Susan a date.
No.
You bring Suze
It's,
to be a
it's already
bride.
messed up. It's messed up already attending a wedding of this sort of stature.
You'd bring Suze to marry him, wouldn't you?
No, that's messed up. No.
But you wouldn't even wish
Seems-
that upon Jade's, or you wouldn't wish it upon Suze?
Oh, everyone's eyeballs seeing Suze in a wedding dress. I don't think I would have to bring anything. It would just be a messed up event. Yeah, I don't even know if I'd go. What would he be getting married to? Would it be some sort of...
Probably Suze.
No, other than... Stop saying Suze. Come on. I don't know. It's just weird. That's just... Who asked that question?
K4E.
K4E, ask some better questions. That's just messed up. That's like one of those stupid sort of, would you cut your finger off for 10 grand? Or,
Would you give
Would
Mr.
you-
Aaron a run?
yeah.
We've put Jade's on vulture alert though, because we'll ask him to put finger selfies and stuff, and he's like, "All right, I'll give you a finger selfie from the beach at Hawaii." I'm like, "Okay, good luck."
Oh, so he's on notice, is he?
He's on notice.
Now that we mention, he's not the only one on notice this week, because Collingwood's best and fairest is on Friday night, and Morgan Ashley has assured us that Pendlebury will be called an unaccountable cunt. And that's probably why she's not here. She's probably a bit nervous about her last few days as a Collingwood fan.
Hang on, this has to be recorded, right? Like, Northern Lights is going to get the phone out and have this on record.
If it doesn't happen on film, it didn't happen.
Because we're not going to just take your word, like, oh yeah, I did it. Bullshit. We're going to have to,
No,
we're going to
you're
need
not.
proof.
You're not Bob Murphy. You're not that trustworthy.
Yeah, you're not the Pope. Priests are not really trustworthy, are they? It's a bad example. No, we're going to need proof.
Yes, we are.
Yep. And then Northern Lights can continue recording as she gets thrown out of the BNF.
It's almost worth coming back next week just to find out whether she did it. But yeah, Suze was mentioned before, and this is the brief note. If you get the chance, check out her recent Twitter exchange with Clementine Ford. That's all.
When's Sue's coming back?
Never. Permanent means forever. Let's move on to this week on the Bay. We will begin with Flog of the Week. I will accept only one winner this week.
Melt Maniac!
Plugger.
Bugger.
No, Melt Maniac.
No. Plugger.
Seriously, it has to be 50-50 tie out of them two.
No.
Come on.
I've never seen a neutral be so upset about a game of football and the result from it than Plugger, who is full... Like, this is the full conspiracy for him. Umpires, St Kilda dropping behind the flag tally, behind the Bulldogs. He's lost it. He's fucking lost it. Plugger was the moral flog of the year back in 2012 when Mario went on a meltdown in the thread, and I launched a campaign last week to make Richmond great again.
How's that going?
Not great, still can't get on the ticket yet, but, you know, we'll figure that out. But I launched that campaign last week. I'm going to launch another one, Plugger for flog of the year. A couple more weeks of this. He went missing in 2012 and Mario appeared and stole it from him. But he's melting at the right time of the year in the worst fucking way. It's just like, get over it, Plugger.
Well, and he has nothing to melt about.
Exactly.
I mean,
He's not a Colas fan. He's melting worse than any Colas fan I've seen on the Bay. Even worse than Bloodret, who was sooking it up pretty bad in the aftermath. But no one...
Plugger deserves it,
Yeah.
which hurts as he's a fellow saner, but Plugger, fucking have a drink, have a joint, chill the fuck out.
Listen to some music.
But Sports Maniac does deserve a fair whack
Yes,
as well.
he does deserve a whack. Honourable mentions, time, Sports Maniac, who else?
Jades.
Smasher,
Jades.
smasher,
Smasher.
smasher, smasher, smasher.
Jade's having a crack at freaking Liam Higgins missing.
Ah, that got a mention last week, I think. Yeah, he got an...
did it?
He got an
Yeah.
dishonourable for that. Anybody else?
Anybody who says Nick Rewalt is shitter than Tom Boyd, you're all on notice.
You mean
Cunts.
Bert Chook?
Everyone.
Benoit.
No, Benoit was more
Benoit made a
subtle than
threat,
that.
but-
Benoit just put the stats up and let everyone else melt around it.
You're on fucking notice. He's your... I can't even conceptualize it, just you're all on notice, cunts.
I'm enjoying some of the bumps of Plugger's threads as well. Tom Boyd versus other key forwards, statistical. And on Thread of the Week time, I'll give that a nom, Tom Boyd versus other key forwards, statistical comparison. Anyone else?
I'm
The
not-
Bay 13 trade week.
Yeah.
Bay 13 trade week, that's been good value.
It's everyone just taking the piss, which is always good.
I don't mind the Bob Murphy, It's All About Me Spankers medal by number 37.
Who's actually fronted up after the Colas loss too. He's probably one of only a handful.
Like the NRL Grand Final, Fred, just to see a little bit of weirdness, the realization sink in.
Also, Swamp Creature's been in good form this week. Congrats, Tassie. 2016 premiers was pretty good. Deal Haters gets an honourable mention. Well done, Boy Dogs.
Finally came through.
A broken clock's right twice a day. That's all I'm going to say.
If you're going to be right, you want to be right in a big way. And you know what? Can't hate on that deal anymore. It is delivered already. And this is what makes me laugh about Plugger's butt hurt, saying, oh, everyone's comparing him to Hawkins. He's going to be fat and shit in next year. And it's just like, yeah, Plugger, but he won them a flag. He can be as fat and shit as he wants because he did the job when it mattered, to quote the Hawfies.
It still would be funny if it does happen, though.
Anyway, I think trade week's third of the week, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just good fun.
I forget what appeared late last week. You know, basically everything on there is from today or yesterday. Last week's poll, real quickly. If you had to have one at your club next year, 0% said Chris Main, 0% said Will Minson, 10% said Stephen Motlop, 15% said the recruit winner, and 75% said Jack Watts. Now, let's move on. The only thing we really have to look forward to is trade and free agency, period.
Oh, joy.
A couple of things we can look at here. Travis Cloak to the Dogs is rumoured for, what pick was it?
I think pick 71.
I think it will be for Carlton's future fourth rounder that they gave us last year.
Okay, that trade says, yes, please take him. Thank you for not charging us too much. Look, I do have to laugh at Cloak. A month ago, he probably thought he was going to walk in and save that club, take the spot that the underperforming Tom Boyd could not lock down, and be the forward target that led the Bulldogs to the promised land. Now he's about as likely to play twos at the Dogs as he was with Crameri back as he was going to at Collingwood, and on half the money.
It's like the sudden realization of Travis Cloak as your teammate has made Boyd realise, fuck, I do not want this.
You know what? It might work if someone doesn't come on or someone gets injured, but I can see him spending a lot of time in the twos, which wasn't what he left to do. But
I'm pretty optimistic.
I'll take him. Just in case, say, Zane Cordy struggles or Boyd gets injured, but I don't think they'll play him.
That's what it's there for, because Redpath got injured. But when Redpath was playing, we played Roughhead Campbell and Redpath together, or we played Roughhead Boyd and Redpath together. So it seems like they're going to go with the three big guys.
It might allow you to release Stringer up the ground.
Exactly, yeah. So this is what I think.
Another note is that, and this amazes me, like, I know he's an old cunt and everything, but no one wants Boomer Harvey, apparently.
If you believe that.
You can tell me that Boomer Harvey is not an improvement on fucking that useless fat cunt Stephen Motlop at Geelong. Or he could not get a game at Brisbane.
If you get Brent Harvey to Geelong, it kind of makes a mockery of getting rid of Steve Johnson and Paul Chapman, I think, if you get a 38.
And you can admit you were wrong.
Yeah.
Like, you know, they lacked in that department. They should have kept Steve Johnson. Like, they fucked up there. Johnson's better than any small forward they've got, apart from them.
I mean, Brent Harvey this year was on really, really small money, so it's not going to cost the club anything in terms of salary or kicks. So one or two at least will say, hey, Brent, come over here.
We will play you.
We will play you. You can be our games record holder now.
Ballarat Miners, they will play you.
I still think he's going to the Dogs, by the way.
Anyone else we want to discuss for trade free agency?
Who's lining up for Tyrone Vickery?
Awful.
I don't know, but all of a sudden that's got a bit murky, hasn't it? Someone else wants him.
Oh, God.
Please, bidding war, please. What do
Hawthorn see that we don't? We want him now because Hawthorn wants him.
I don't care who wants him. Please take him. Please pay as much as you want for him, or as much as you can for him.
It's apparently Freo.
Oh, Freo will upgrade him to first-round compensation. That would be fantastic. We'll get first-round compo for fucking Ty Vickery. And
that's disgusting if that happens.
and Big Footy will explode because Freo went and paid him Kurt Tippett money.
If that happens, I'm bumping the Ross line for it. That would be fucking gold.
See, I'm already making Richmond great again. I inspired a bidding war for Ty Vickery. I told Ross Lyon, I'll take credit for it.
Oh, please go to Freo, please.
Oh, they still won't need to build that fucking cabinet.
Deledio could go to the Cats, which has probably been said before.
I don't think it'll happen. I don't think he wants to go, and ultimately at this stage you still can't make a player leave. I don't think that'll happen.
He's always struck to me as a very loyal sort of guy.
Yeah.
I don't think he'd be going.
I will rage if that happens because the other rumour getting thrown around is straight swap for Motlop and they can fuck off.
No way. No way
no,
would you want to do that.
You could throw in a good player along with Motlop and I still wouldn't fucking take that for anything. If you fuck Motlop off, he's awful.
What if it was Cockatoo?
I haven't seen enough of Cockatoo to make... I don't want to make the trade in the first place. You know, Cockatoo wouldn't get me to the trade table, wouldn't get me in the room.
Mm.
No, you'd have to do better than that. Anyway, who else is on the trade table? What else is...
Petrie to
What's
West
going on?
Coast.
As a rookie, the oldest rookie in history.
Jack.
That wouldn't be worth it, would it, to relocate your family to the other side of the country just for a rookie spot? They would have to guarantee him that he would be playing games.
But nobody get that guarantee. Like, I'm sure Travis Cloak was giving that guarantee. He's
I
not
think
going to have it now.
Matt Nugent and so is another guy. So
Well, I heard Lysette had surgery, but they're saying that he's going to be right for round one.
I think it's their only two ruckmen, so they need Petrie's security.
Collingwood are the other one with the most interesting collection of, well, footballers, which we did discuss a bit last week with Main and Wells and Nicky Dell. Now Will Hoskin Elliott's in the picture. It's just like, some of these players, how are they going to get them all? Like, Wells is a free agent. Hoskin Elliott they'll have to trade for, I think, but I don't know how they're going to get him without any draft picks. I'm not sure what... Morgs is right. Herb was right. This is Michael Voss-esque.
Will Hoskin Elliott is not worth much now. Like, maybe 2 years ago, he'd be worth like a top 10 pick. Seriously, he'd be lucky in the top 30 now, I reckon.
Really? I think he's handy. It's just that he doesn't fit what the Giants have. Like, they've got other players who can do his role a bit better. Like, the Swans could do. We talked about the lack of outside run at the Swans.
Yeah.
He could move cross town.
But,
I know...
just look at the deals that Carlton's been able to do with shit over this. Like, 4 players for what, pick 28. And that was...
Yeah, but they're never any good.
Hoskin Elliott is seriously in employment category now.
Better than Plough, surely.
Jack Steele's good name. Jack.
Yeah, you're getting Steele. Marchbank to Carlton.
Jack Steele, he'd probably fetch a pick, I reckon, around 15 maybe.
Yeah. Freo are still after McCarthy. They'll probably get him. They're after Brad Hill. That could be really interesting to see how Brad Hill is valued, whether he's valued on best 22 at Hawthorn in a 3-time premiership team, or on his, you know what, he's sort of been carried there 3 times.
Well, it didn't stop them saying all these good things about Jonathan Hay when they shipped him to North Melbourne. Oh, he's an all-Australian back, and he finished such and such in Elton Ferris. So you'll give us your first round pick for him. Okay, here you go.
Tom Mitchell, no Mira to Hawthorn. Be interesting to see whether they can even get those done. Prestia to Richmond. I don't think it'll get... I hope it doesn't, because I think he's B grade at best, and he's injury prone, but I don't want to see pick 6 go, and I don't think there's another way to do it unless Fremantle will activate good comp over Vickery. In that case, wouldn't you just go the draft? I can see a lot of these trades hitting stalemate, and usually there's one that holds up trade week, and I'm not sure which one it is. Like last year, Dangerfield dominated in the Judd trade in years past, and Beams and all these. There's usually one that holds all the deals up and stops the dominoes falling. What do we reckon it's going to be this year? Which one?
Well, Charlie Dixon was that deal last year, and that was Gold Coast. And I actually made a thread about it on the Austin Training Board. That Gold Coast and the new Essendon with them value draft picks and stuff.
Oh God, Essendon and Hibbert will be interesting. We want your first rounder and Jesse Hogan.
When does trade week start anyway?
Next Monday. For some silly reason, I thought it was today, but next Monday.
I think there was a year it started like on the free agency period. Started before trades, I think, and it started on the Wednesday after the grand final one year, and it was just fucking ridiculous. The AFL could afford to, if the new CBA comes up and the players get a slightly longer off season in general, the AFL could afford to just sort of push trade week and coaching appointments, set a limit on those to, leave a week or 2 between grand final and everything else, just to let things settle, and then clubs get their act together in that time instead of fucking coaching appointments happening during finals, which is fucking ridiculous.
There's no real big names. Like Dangerfield was the big one last year, but yeah.
Yeah, because Dangerfield was considered gettable by other clubs just because he was, if the Crows and Cats couldn't get it done. I don't know if there's a player who is a big enough name that
Vickery.
Another club might come along and say, inquire about the status of that player, if the deal's not getting done, if a trade's being held up. O'Meara's maybe the big one because Essendon are sitting there hanging about, waiting to see what happens pre-season draft, but they're not going to trade for him.
I reckon one of Tom Hickey or Billy Longer will be traded out of St Kilda.
Go off longer, wouldn't you? Hickey seems required at the moment. And Hickey's played the more dominant footy too, when he's been fit.
Just don't know who one of them's gone. I've heard numerous clubs, Dogs, Richmond, Freo, Essendon.
Longer is the one that I think I'm hearing that he's contracted, so, you want at least a second rounder for him.
On the note of grand finals as well, there's been talk in recent days about trading Rowan and Tippett, and you've got to wonder where the value is there, particularly with Tippett, because you'd be picking up the price tag, surely. Like, who's going to make that deal? Brisbane?
Gold Coast, they're not.
Isn't he from Queensland?
Yeah.
He's a Gold Coast boy. Though he tried to tell everyone he was a Sydney person to get to Sydney, which enraged the Crows and got them the sanctions.
Aren't West Coast trying to go for Rory Wobb? If they can't get a deal done for Rory Wobb, say West Coast are really gone hard for it, why don't they just go in for Tippett then?
Well, because West Coast is serious about winning finals. I don't know who would want Tippett, except Freo. Yeah, they better not look at Tippett instead of Vickery, and they need to take Ty off our hands. There's a lot of interesting trades out there. Do we think, Cookie, you heard a rumour about Nat Fyfe?
Yes. Apparently someone in Freo or higher up wants to trade Nat Fyfe to fasten the rebuild.
Just when you thought the time of Freo making shit deals was over, do we think there'll be any movement on that?
No. He's from WA. He doesn't want to go.
He's rural WA, though. He might want to get out of Dodge.
Well, come to the north then if you want to come to...
You need the draft picks, though. You're trading for Nat Fyfe at the moment would be... Treloar was worth 2 firsts. Considered worth 2 firsts. What do you think Nat Fyfe's going to be worth?
Well, if Fremantle think that we're going to finish low next year, then we could offer up next year's picks as well as...
But if you get Nat Fyfe, you're a better team.
Yeah.
Yeah, you won't finish as low.
That's true. Yeah. What would they be wanting? 2 first rounders?
2 firsts and probably some more.
I'd probably say at least a top 10 pick, or 2 top 10s.
I've heard that his knees are shot and that he'll never play a full season of footy ever again. See, with the Dangerfield trade, he doesn't have a history of all these injuries, and he played the full season easy and was the best player in the competition. You can't get that sort of... when he's playing and he's playing really well, he can be the best player in the comp, but there's no, I guess, guarantee.
The old his body is shot is kind of a used excuse, though. You hear that a lot. That was said about Stevie J. It's Stevie J failed the medical at Collingwood, and then he became a 3-time premiership player. It'll be interesting to see. It'll be interesting to see if Diego Mira fails a medical if he hasn't done one.
That's the other name too, and I heard that he's failed at a couple of clubs.
Yeah.
I heard he failed at Richmond and at North.
Hawthorn are going to go for Tom Mitchell, you think? He's a fairly durable player. And, he's only 22 or 23. So he's someone, they can sort of rebuild their midfield around with a solid accumulator type of player.
Well, this is the interesting thing. Will Sydney be okay with dealing Mitchell to a, quotation marks, another contender in Hawthorn, and actually going through with that without really good compensation? And in that case, one, can Hawthorn pay it? Because do Sydney want draft picks or proven players? And the other one, this is probably where do Hawthorn want to keep drafting? And this is where they probably hope that they'll get a lot for Brad Hill. But I can't see that happening. I can't see Freo parting with, maybe their second, because it's going to be top 22. Actually, they lost that one, didn't they? Didn't they trade that for Benner?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, so they're going to have that. They need to trade Fyfe out if they want to get Hill.
Did Melbourne trade their first rounder this year to Gold Coast? Just the total last year? I can't remember.
Maybe. There were some weird trades done last year. I haven't seen the draft order. We'll see it once trade period's over and the compo picks are adjusted, and Richmond have 2 in the top 7 thanks to Freo paying Vickery $800 a year.
It's previous trades. Yeah, Melbourne did trade to Gold Coast. Pretty much GWS has a free first round picks.
And Essendon want 2 of those for the number 1.
It's 7 to 15 for number 1. Ooh.
No, I wouldn't do that. You want 2 in the first 6, 7, 8.
But if you're the Giants, do you want a better caliber player, or do you just want more? You know what I mean? Do you want better caliber players, or do you want more first rounders that are going to go home? That's what they did with Josh Kelly when they turned Tyson and the draft pick into Josh Kelly. It's you keep filling your list with talent. Eventually, they're not going to stay there because they can't get games. It's interesting, but nothing else that's surprising about trade week.
We won't know what happens.
Not really.
I think this one could get bloody. I really do think this one could get bloody because there's so much movement mooted, but at the same time, there doesn't appear to be an obvious way to make these trades happen, if you know what I mean. I think there's going to be some collateral damage at clubs where people get thrown up as steak knives and someone cracks his shits like Riscatelli at Brisbane, and, someone gets upset. There could be some carnage.
Just no picking up rock lifts in Kilda. For the love of God, do not do that.
Oh, Adelaide did it for him.
Yeah, Adelaide will probably do it.
Well, I keep on hearing Rockcliffe and Hanley are going to get kicked out of Brisbane. So
Yeah, Hanley's off to the Gold Coast.
Yeah.
that one doesn't make sense to me either. Like, Gold Coast have got so many outside players.
Halfback flank types.
Yeah, half-back.
But I guess they always get injured.
Just till Scott Clayton drafting. It's just shit. They need guys who can win their own footy. You know, they won't really have that once, Prussia and O'Meara, goes. Ablett's not getting any younger too.
Anyway, I think we call that it. So, this was the Flogcast for Grand Final postseason wrap. Starburns joined by Cookie.
2 can be as sad as 1. Now it's the loneliest number next to number 1.
Dan.
See ya.
And our bathwater drinking Flog Goo You Pups.
Sons of the West, red, white, and blue, will come out snarling.
Thanks for listening. We'll see you next year.
Bulldogs through and through. We sing, Bulldogs, blood and Bulldog, bro. We give our very best, but you can't beat the boys of the
If Morgs
Bulldogs.
is here, she'd have rage
The
quit by
team
now.
of the mighty West. Woo!
Thanks for listening. We'll see you in a month. Hopefully, if we haven't drowned in bathwater by then.